Just over 2 years ago, I hit the rock bottom of my life. I felt like I was a victim in my own life. I didn't want to wake up every morning, and ultimately, I thought everything and everybody in this world was out to get me. It led me down an extremely dark path, and ultimately, led me to having a panic attack and being sent to the hospital. While at the hospital, I was told that I had a choice: my business or my life at the time, which was my wife. And ultimately, I knew that I needed to make some changes, and I knew that self-healing was right at my doorstep, but I'd never chosen to start it. See, even in my darkest times, I never really wanted to die. I simply just wanted the pain to go away. And in this video, I'm gonna go over with you how I was able to get the pain to go away through starting my self-healing journey. Let's rock and roll. Hey there, my friend. I'm Super Sid, the business shaman, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Life Coach Launch School. Just over 2 years ago, I was found in a hospital and ultimately, told that I had a decision to make. I had literally been living in this negative mindset of where I'd get up every day and I just wasn't happy, and I wasn't really wanting to wake up and do anything. I had no motivation. I didn't want to do anything, and ultimately, I just lived in this victim mindset of everybody's coming to get me all the time. And really what I remember my first thought when I was going through self-healing and really what I wanted to do is ultimately I realized that, during my self-healing journey that something, was going to have to change, but it wasn't going to be somebody else that was going to do it for me. Even though I had a wife that loved me and I had my family that loved me and all these people around me that claimed that they loved me, I knew it was a decision that I had to make and that I had to walk into. And the first thing that I really learned, well, I'm going to go over that with you on a hike that I did here recently. All right. First thing, so self-healing has been very, very integral for me because it's helped me slow down and recognize the present, aka live in the present. Before self-healing, I was either thinking about things that had happened in the past or thinking about the future and what I needed to do. And thus, I wasn't able to ever really enjoy life. I never, life was it wasn't vibrant. It wasn't, life was just very, very dull. And I remember before I started self-healing, I didn't enjoy life. I didn't enjoy waking up. I didn't enjoy looking, striving for something. When I started self-healing and started understanding that, this is, the world is such a beautiful place and everything in it is happening for me and not to me, I started really being able to get excited again about waking up and taking on the world and living in the present. If we look at what self-healing has done to help me live in the present, now I'm looking at a world that's a lot more vibrant. I'm looking at a world that's a lot more fun. And ultimately, I'm looking at a world that I enjoy walking into every day and manifesting in every single day. So that's probably been a huge lesson that I've learned through self-healing is, honestly, the world's a pretty amazing place. And we get to live in it every single day. It's extremely vibrant, extremely colorful. But when we're in the present, everything seems to slow down, and ultimately, we become a lot happier because of that. Like I said in that segment, ultimately, living in the present was one of the first big things that I had to learn. I had to, figure out how to do every single day. What I'd found that I was doing on an everyday basis was I was living in the past or I was living in the future, I was constantly thinking about mistakes that had happened or things that had happened to me or things that I'd been traumatized. I was reliving, that emotional experience, or I was thinking about things that I hadn't done yet that I wanted to achieve. Not once during that time did I ever sit down and say, wow, look at what's happened. Look at where I'm at. Look at what I'm doing, Look at the world around me. And ultimately, through this process, one of the first things that happened is I slowed down. Through slowing down my life, through seeing all the amazingness that was happening around my life, every single day, I started to, little by little, get happier. But little by little, start shedding this black, dark film that I had seen when it came to what I saw in my reality every single day. And ultimately, I started seeing brighter colors. I started hearing things. I started hearing things that I didn't normally hear, I started seeing things that I didn't normally see. And I started realizing that the world was out here for me, happening for me, not to me. Now, this next lesson is all about getting started. And I remember when I was getting started, I was really, really scared. But ultimately, I found out one important thing during that first step that I took that now I incorporate into everything in my life that helps me get through those tough decisions or those tough days where I know that I'm about to grow. Here's what I learned. So another thing that self-healing has really helped me and had a dramatic impact on my life specifically is kind of what I call that the first step is the hardest and surrendering is best. And what I mean by that is there were so many things in my life that I was trying to be good at, that I wasn't naturally gifted, or so many things in life that were just flat out of my control. We see that a lot these days where people try to control the uncontrollable and they try to go out there and force things to happen. Well, during my self-healing journey, a big thing that I very much realized was to focus on the controllables, especially the controllables that I have right in front of me. I found through this journey that I was focusing on a lot of things that I couldn't control. So constantly in this whirlwind of stress and anxiety and just worry all the time. Whereas when I started self-healing, I started seeing the things that not only that I could control, but that I was good at, that I could get better at, that I enjoyed. Thus, I started focusing only on those things and finding either other people or just cutting out completely the things that I couldn't control. I think some of you might, as an example of this, I really fell deep into this before I started my self-healing journey back in 2020. And I think all of us know what happened back in 2020, but after being locked in for so long, after being pointed at and told what to do, right, by so many people, I started self-isolating myself and also trying to control the outside or the external. And through this process of surrendering, I've recognized that the only thing that I can really focus on is in here. It's my internal. The external is always going to be there, knocking at our door, screaming at us, telling us that we're not good enough. But if we can focus on the internal, and we can focus on the controllables that we have, and we can surrender to the things that we can't control, my stress level especially, really went down. And ultimately, I started enjoying life again. And that was one of the best things that I went through during that self-healing part of my journey. An important lesson that I kind of touched on a little bit there, but I really want to break down here, is getting 1% better every day. I actually originally heard this from my grandfather while we were outside his workshop, his upholstery workshop in Eastern Kentucky. What he was really telling me was that ultimately there's so many things out there that we see that we want to accomplish, but ultimately, right, it's not about going out there and having one decision, one victory, one item that's going to get us everything that we want, that we consistently need to go out there every single day and get 1% better. So when I was looking at getting started with my self-healing journey, although I knew the overall goal that I wanted to go out there and achieve, I also knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it in one go. So getting started usually started with that decision, started with that first difference, that first thing that I knew that I needed to do. And sometimes those things are really, really simple. This could be changing your schedule, scheduling a call to get started. This could be meditating for the first time in ever. This could be taking and coaching. There's so many things that we can do. The discipline comes into doing them consistently and doing them every day, which ultimately is where getting 1% better every day really helped me. All right, so this last major lesson that I want to go over with you guys, that all of these lessons I still incorporate into my everyday life now, but this next lesson is a biggie because there's so many things that we are looking to start or looking to go out there and do right in our life. But there's also things in our life that there's never really going to be a finish line on. And ultimately, right, understanding that part of the journey, that the journey really is the thing that we're going after. So in this segment, I'm going to talk to you about what that means. All right, so the third biggest lesson that I've really taken from my self-healing journey that I use in my everyday life is the understanding that it's about the journey, not the destination. And what I mean by that is I think that when I started my self-healing journey, one of the first things that I had to understand was this idea of surrendering. And I knew that if I surrendered to the to understanding that I wasn't really chasing like this top of a mountain, because I understood that once I got to the top of that mountain, I was going to want something else. And and that was part of where I was before I started my self-healing journey, and why I was so sick, why I was letting things really affect me in a negative way. I personally was not allowing myself to go out there and enjoy the moment, to enjoy the journey of getting better and better every single day. And I think a lot of people, especially me in my life, I was constantly chasing after something that I didn't have. So when I started understanding that the journey was not really going to end, I was just going to feel better consistently. I was going to be more empowered consistently. I was going to be awakened consistently to a new reality, to a new thing that wasn't here yesterday that I'm going to be able to step into today. By understanding that each and every day was a new gift, a new opportunity, all of those things really help shift, right, my worry away, and understanding that every single day I get a chance to go out there and have a new. Every single day I get to go out there and, experience more of this journey that I decided to walk on consistently. And I found that through walking on this journey consistently and worrying about the journey and not the destination it's going to get me, I've been able to really, really increase my mood, not be worried all the time. I used to be worried about everything all the time. I'm not worried anymore. And ultimately, that's because I understand that right now, I am living my best life. Right now, I am everywhere I'm supposed to be, and the world is working for me. And understanding that there is no destination that I need to get to. There is no grind that I have to go through. This grind mentality or this hustle mentality is hurting the world. And it's making entrepreneurs sick, and it's making people sick thinking that they got to keep up with the Joneses. Our goal is to build the life that we want, to live in our mission, to understand that we were put here for a specific reason, for a specific purpose, and we're out here living inside that purpose right now, telling the story that has not only changed our life, but has the opportunity to change others. So the cool thing about this is, yes, it has to do with my self-healing journey, but ultimately, how does this relate to my life? Well, this relates to my life because I used to have these like ridiculous and sometimes impossible goals in my life that, I had to get to this destination or I had to be at this spot. And ultimately, this was me thinking that I needed to validate what somebody else thought I was. So other people thought that I was this thing, and I was doing my best to validate their belief about me. And a lot of these people I'd never even met, right? These were just people that, said things or, had expectations about me or because of things that they had heard about me. But ultimately, this, really wasn't me following my dream or following what I wanted to do. And this added a lot of stress because, it put these goals up over here that, to be honest with you, a lot of times were extremely hard to reach or way out of the universe. And it really helped me, again, just tie back to some of the other lessons that I've learned of slowing down, enjoying the process, but ultimately, right, understanding that this journey is never going to end. I get to live in this journey every single day. And it's the same thing in everyday life. Let's not be too serious about too many things. So many people take life so seriously, right? Enjoy life, enjoy what you're doing in life, and aim to take this life and help others with it. And when we can do that every single day, the world gets to become a better place. More people get the opportunity to start healing, and ultimately new realities and new awakenings happen all around us. And that's our goal with you in this video. All right, so there it is. 3 lessons, major lessons that I incorporate in my life to this day that starting my self-healing journey really helped me with. And one thing I want to make sure that I emphasize on this video is if you're watching this video and you feel in a very dark place, maybe you feel like what I was talking about there at the beginning where you just really want that pain to go away. I want you to know that self-healing is right at your doorstep. You can begin self-healing right now, today, by getting 1% better and simply making a decision to start healing yourself. And ultimately, if you want a little bit of help, we have an amazing resource that's absolutely free called our 7-Day Nervous System Reset. Everything begins with healing when we start to control our nervous system and ultimately go out there, start making decisions with a healed nervous system. So what we want to do is we want to help start that healing process. And if you want some help from us, you can go down there in that description and you can grab that 7-Day Nervous System Reset absolutely free. Again, I'm Super Sid, the Business Shaman. And if you like this video, make sure to give us a follow down there below, subscribe to this channel so more people can begin their self-healing journey. Don't forget, let's dare to heal so we can dare to lead and ultimately dare to make an impact. We'll see you in the next video.